Hello and welcome back to the channel, guys. So today we're going to be testing the RX 9070 XT PowerColor HellHound edition of the card. I'm also going to be testing the RX 9070 Sapphire Pulse mod of the card, and I'm going to be testing the RX 9060 XT PowerColor HellHound edition of the card as well. It's going to be the 60GB mod of the card. I'm going to be using the 9000X3D, and I'm going to be using 32GB of DDR5. And this is going to be a 4K test using frame generation, guys. I have done a few videos now without the frame gen. I just want to show you guys what you can get with frame generation, basically. All right, guys, let's get into the video. Right, guys, so we have The Last of Us Part 2 remastered, running at 4K, very high settings, FSR quality, and we do have frame generation on, and also FSR4 on. We've seen a really playable experience on the 9070 XT and the 9070. Both cards are above 120 FPS, which is absolutely amazing, especially when you're using frame generation. The 9060 XT is struggling a little bit with 80, 90 FPS. Wouldn't really recommend these settings for the 9060 XT just because, you know, you do want to get at least, like, I would say even 70, 80 FPS without the frame generation, just for it to feel really nice and not, you know, really delayed. I've noticed that some games with the AMD cards do feel more delayed than others, like CYBERPUNK, for example. I'm going to get to CYBERPUNK later, but I've noticed that CYBERPUNK is a bit less of a delay than other games like MAFIA that I've tested. So I don't know, it really does depend on the game, guys. But the 9070 XT and the 9070 do a really good job. The 9060 XT is struggling quite a bit. I think it still does pretty decent considering it's not really a 4K card. Alright, guys, and we have Cyberpunk 2077 at 4K ultra settings, FSR quality, and FSR4 is finally in the game now. I have tested all three of these cards with quite a bit of settings, basically all the settings in 4K and 4040p, so go and check that out, guys. And we're seeing basically the same amount of difference with these cards. I also have to mention I have turned off screen space reflections as well, so that literally eats about 20-30 FPS. You guys do want to enable it, just bear in mind you are going to lose quite a bit of FPS. But we are seeing basically the same thing as we saw in The Last of Us Part 2, though. Like, the 9060 XT is struggling quite a bit, and the 9070 XT and the 9070 are doing a pretty decent job. Again, over 120 FPS, 140, 160 FPS on 9070 XT to 9070. Really nice experience, really smooth. I really enjoy these settings with these GPUs. Alright, guys, next up we have Mafia the Old Country on that 4K, epic settings, FSR quality, frame generation's on, and FSR4 is enabled. And all the cards are basically struggling, guys, on the 90 FPS on all the cards. 9060 XT is absolutely struggling, 9070 is struggling as well. It's a UE5 title, it's really hard to run, guys, literally. Even on the 5090 I was struggling to run this game. I had to use MFG, so yeah, it just tells you everything you need to know. But other than that, it's a fantastic game, it really is. I do recommend high settings on this game, guys, because you do get quite a lot of FPS, especially on the 9070 XT and the 9070. You can get over 100, 110, 120 FPS with high settings and FSR quality and frame gen, so I do recommend them settings, guys. But just here I'm testing epic settings, and also I do have full videos out testing all these cards as well, basically all the settings as well, so go and check that out, guys, if you're interested in seeing these cards in this game. Right, guys, next up we have God of War Ragnarok, run at 4K, ultra settings, FSR quality, frame generation's on, and of course FSR4 is enabled. And we're seeing actually all the cards doing a pretty decent job, like over 100 FPS, so even the 9060 XT is doing a really good job here. This game is really well optimized, so I'm not surprised seeing the 9060 XT literally getting 110 FPS. It's really nice to see. And with the 9070 XT, getting literally 180 up to 190 FPS depending on the area. And the 9070 literally right behind it, doing a really good job as well. Yeah, I'm really happy to see this performance with all these cards. They're doing a really fantastic job. And of course, I do recommend you guys picking this game up because it's absolutely insane games. Alright, guys, so we're in Silent Hill 2 on 4K, epic settings, FSR quality, frame generation's on, and FSR 3.1. And all the GPUs are struggling. It is a UE5 title, really hard to run. I think the Epic settings just make it really hard to run for all these GPUs. I think if you lower it a bit down, you should be completely fine with frame generation and FSR quality. But with these settings, I think they're all struggling. I mean, the 9070 XT seems to be doing the absolute best job, over 100 FPS. Pretty reasonable to play on these settings with that card. But all the other cards are just, you know, under 100. I think it's just going to be too much delay when you move your mouse to play like this. Maybe if you're using the controller, you might be fine. But other than that, though, I don't recommend these settings. You know, basically all these cards. Maybe try and go to high and you might be fine. But yeah, they're all struggling, literally. And we have Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, 4K, Epic Sense, FSR quality, frame generation on, and FSR4. And basically the same thing as we saw in Silent Hill 2. So generally all the cards are struggling, and I think the 9070 XT is definitely doing the best job. Definitely had the least delay, I would say, when you move the mouse, because it's over 100 FPS, so it generally felt best. I would actually play on them settings, because I remember playing on my 4070 Super, and I think I was getting like 120 FPS, something like that, with frame duration as well, and it felt really playable, and I've really enjoyed playing like that. So someone has the 9070 XT and again 115 FPS with frame duration, those times you should be completely fine. But the 9070 and the 9060 XT are definitely struggling a lot. I wouldn't recommend these settings for these two GPUs. But yeah, if you have the 9070 XT, I think it's more than playable, and I think you're gonna enjoy yourself with these settings. Alright guys, next up, The Last of Us Part 1, 4K, Ultra Sense, FSR quality, frame duration, and FSR4. Very demanding title, guys, I have to say straight off the bat. The 9070 XT and the 9070 do an absolutely fantastic job, getting over 120 FPS. The 9060 XT is struggling, but I'm absolutely not surprised, because this game is just so hard to run, literally. I remember on my 3070, I was struggling to run this game, running out of VRAM constantly and everything, so absolutely not surprised with the 9060 XT struggling, even with frame duration. But I think if you do lower the settings a little bit down to 9060 XT, it can definitely be really playable in 4K. But you do need to, you know, turn down some settings a little bit. But the 9070 XT and the 9070, absolutely flawless. Alright guys, and lastly we have Spider-Man 2 at 4K, Ultra Sense, FSR quality, frame duration and FSR4. And of course we see the 9070 XT and the 9070, very high refresh rate, 150 FPS plus. The 9060 XT is struggling a little bit, 80 to 100 FPS. It does drop down, depending on the area. I think if you shoot down the settings a little bit on the 9060 XT, you can definitely get like 120, maybe 130 FPS. Maybe put FSR on balance. I do genuinely recommend frame duration on this title, because it's so stuttery that, you know, even if you're getting quite a lot of FPS, I would still recommend getting that frame rate on just to smooth it out a little bit. I've said that in my previous videos, but even on my 5090, I was playing with MFG on constantly on this title, because it looked fantastic, but it just kept stuttering, so I just had to enable MFG. Right guys, so we're at the end of the video. Let me know your thoughts below if you guys like to use frame generation. I personally love using it, especially if you're getting like over 80, maybe even 90 FPS. It's really nice to use it. Smooths out the game a little bit. It does have delay, but it does depend on the title. Some games feel more delayed than others. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please, you know, drop a like, drop a comment, because it boosts the video a lot. Drop a sub as well, guys, so I know you like, you know, these type of videos. And see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.